Hey everybody, it's Professor Dipley. This is History 100, Chapter 7, the first of the lecture videos for this week, this chapter. So pretty standard this week. As usual, you can see the different learning objectives, the assignments for the week. There's no discussion board this week, just the exam. There is the lecture slides with notes. There's also videos as well. I know the list looks long, but a lot of them are like 3 minutes long on the Barbarian Rising ones. Pretty much all of these here. And there's lecture videos as well. All right, let's just dive into the lecture slides real quick. So let's start here. So this is the last of the Roman chapters we're doing. This is about the transformation and fall of the Roman Empire in the West. So we're going to start here with Emperor Diocletian. So he comes in background around 284. Soldier general rises up through the ranks. His men proclaim him emperor in 284. He ends a half century of civil war and restores order. That's important because remember the third crisis of the 3rd century from the last chapter. Diocletian's going to come in, and as a way to try to end that crises and all the crisis, he's going to rule with an iron fist in many ways. And one of the first things he does is, well, it's not one of the first things, but it's one of the things to show this, is the great persecution of Christians in 303, really blaming them, scapegoating them for the problems of the 3rd century. This is really himself was a pagan, a believer in the old Roman gods, and so therefore saw Christianity as the reason for Christians as a reason for the downfall and the problems in the empire. Remember, you had to, as a Roman, sacrifice and pray to the state gods. Remember, there's 2 parts of the religion. And so this is an attempt to appease them. Obviously, Christians couldn't, as we've talked about before, because they, if the commandment that there's only one God, no gods above, then cannot, take part in the state festivals and religion there. So, other things, and really what Diocletian is most important for is the creating of the dominate. So this is a new era in Rome. It comes from the term dominate, comes from the term dominus, is what in Rome slaves called their masters. It is also the term that Diocletian is going to have the people of Rome call him. This is openly authoritarian style. Very much no more hiding where that there's he's emperor. This ends the concept of the princeps, and all that went along with it. Augustine's acting modestly, not calling himself emperor. Remember, he created the facade of the republic. That's all gone here at this point. Openly and purposely emulate the powerful monarchs of Near East, especially the Persians, the Sassanids, and others. Going to wear a diadem, essentially a crown. Originally, a diadem was a piece of silk wrapped around the head with lots of jewels sewn into it. He sat on a raised platform, wore purple robes embroidered with gold. So when an emperor took over, they would say taking the purple. Again, why is it purple? Purple becomes the color of royalty, mostly because it's the most expensive dye at the time to dye clothing, especially silk. That was because it came from sea slugs, so it was very difficult to get and make, and very smelly as well. But nonetheless, incredibly valuable. Veils, he had veils separating himself and the emperor, for himself from his visitors to show how powerful he was over them. Even had his visitors prostrate themselves. That means get down your hands and knees, bow your head, sort of thing. Harsh punishments. He essentially starts tying people to the land, and sets, force hereditary possessions, edict of maximum prices and wages, really showing his full, complete authoritarian style over the empire here. And you can read, some of the parts in that. In the text. The other important thing Diocletian will do, another major important thing, is dividing the empire. This is really the beginning of the true split between East and West Roman Empire. He creates the tetrarchy. This is the rule by 4. The concept here is share power. He's in charge, but share power. Divide the empire into these districts. You can see the names up here. These are the rulers, what they're going to be called Augusti and Caesars. Who it makes it easier to rule the empire, defend the empire. It's also meant It creates these two co-emperors here, again, as I was saying there. It's meant to stop, and this is the key point, the designated successors stop the wars of succession, right? You would have a system. You would have two co-emperors and then two Caesars who are ready to replace the Augusti, and then you get more Caesars. That was the goal. Didn't last at all. Constantine and them are going to fight once Diocletian is gone. But he subdivides it into these regional dioceses. These are the colors here, like Italia, Hispania, Africa, all these different Libertania, all the Galilee. This is meant to, again, just give regional names for it. It's also, still use the term diocese today. They had their own praetorian prefects. It's really trying to get rid of local control and put his stamp on the empire. Excuse me. Here's a map here. It shows the from the last page too, in more detail. It's in your book. This is just another map from another book. Just same stuff, same information. Just really meant to show different colors for it. Makes it a little bit easier to use. You can also see the capitals here. One thing to point out here. In Italy, Italia, the capital is no longer Rome. It is now Milan. It will later move to Ravenna. It just shows how much the city of Rome was no longer of mass importance and how the empire had shifted so much there. Here's more pictures of the depiction of the Tetrarchy. Note how they're all made to look exactly the same. The emperors, Augusti and Caesars, is meant to show that they all work together. They're the same. They were embracing in a brotherly embrace is the idea. Eventually, though, this will break down. And just to skip ahead here, the creation of the Eastern and Western here. East-West division created by the civil war between Constantine's sons later. Division is made permanent in 395 by Emperor Theodosius, and that's very important. So even though Diocletian begins the division of the empire into four, it is really Theodosius who's going to completely split the empire. And you even see there's new capitals here, Ravenna and Constantinople. Interesting note about both Ravenna and Constantinople, why they are chosen. It is really defensive purposes. They are, near cliffs, water, mid-mountainous. It makes it much more difficult to attack and much easier to defend. So it also shows you that the Roman emperors are truly worried about attacks from the outside there. Again, that map there. Some more here, the Christianization of the Roman Empire. Through this. Now, the Christianization had begun already, but one of the turning points is Emperor Constantine. Well, he's not emperor yet, general, but then later becomes Emperor Constantine at this Battle of the Milvian Bridge. Story here is that, as you can see in this picture, Constantine's about to fight a battle, greatly outnumbered, but the story is, and there's a couple different stories, he either had a vision, or he saw this in the sky, or voices talked to him. He looked up, there was the cross in the sky, or the Chiro, another symbol of early Christianity, and heard the words or saw the words that in this symbol you will be victorious. And essentially what he did is had his soldiers paint the red crosses of the Chiro symbol on their shields. They went on to win, and so this begins his conversion. He doesn't actually convert at this time. His mother's a Christian, others are. There seems to be said that he converts at his death, but nonetheless, this now that the emperor is, and now that especially for the Romans, why this is so important is, remember, their gods, especially Mars and them, were protected and ensured Rome's prosperity and success. This will make it for some of the Romans to accept this, especially soldiers, more and more. If that it seems that in their view Christianity can help them win wars, right? If there's a protection from God in that. This is the Chiro I was talking about. This is the symbol. Early symbol of Christianity, Chiro, the first two letters of Christ from the Greek. Again, you could even see continuing the importance of Greek culture here. Early tomb with the Chiro symbol up here in the middle. Now, even more important with Constantine is the proclamation by Constantine and Licinius of the Edict of Milan. Now, this does not make it a Christian empire, but it does allow freedom of religion within the empire. So now there's no more penalties, no more persecutions. And why does it, and one of the interesting things of this early Christianity was for the Romans is it's going to take a long time for everybody to accept it. They're still going to have the pagans, the old religion. And so you're going to have some of these respect for him. So, Christianity comes from Judaism. Judaism's day of prayer is Saturday to appease many of the pagans and others, which one of their big festival day was Sunday for the sun god, with Edict of Milan and Constantine, you really do start to get the move to worship on a Sunday. And again, it is meant. It's not. Shouldn't be surprising, as we're going to see in later slides. Early Christianity in some places began to adopt or meld some of the local traditions and religion to help ease people to transition over. The other things here, Nicene Creed, I put a video on from Khan Academy. Take a look at that. But this is determines official church doctrine by the bishops and Emperor Constantine. Remember, the bishops are high church, Catholic Church leaders from all across the empire. Problem is that it decided what was truly heresy and what is orthodoxy. Orthodoxy is what the church officially believes. Heresy is anything else. This had to do with Arianism. It had to do with the nature of Jesus. The idea of essentially, Arian said that he was may have been the Son of God, but he's not equal to them. Where the Nicene Creed says that the Father and Son are homounison, of one substance. Early Christians, there was lots of different debates over what Christianity meant, how it should be observed, that sort of thing. And the Nicene Creed, and you see the emperor here exerting his influence over it, and the bishops on what trying to create a uniform, truly universal religion. But yeah, it creates this idea of what's orthodoxy and heresy. Others here, you get Emperor Theodosius. He's important because, again, not only did he split the empire, but here he is making Christianity the state religion of Rome in 391. Polytheism will persist, but it's now the Roman emperor is a Christian, and that's the official religion. So they stop sacrificing to the old Roman gods. One of the drawbacks from all this, though, for Jews is the question was, how would Jewish people be treated once now the empire is Christian? Many argued they should be treated well because Jesus was Jewish, came from Christianity. In reality, though, there was a question, should they get favored treatment? In reality, no, they were really had attacked and given legal restrictions, and it's a long process that will make Jewish people second-class citizens in later European history in different areas. Even though the Christianity could be tied back to Judaism, many of the Christians viewed these early Christians in this this era here are looking at the Jews as wrong for not completely adopting Christianity. So while it seemed like they might get a better treatment, it turns out this actually ended up hurting them by many there. All right, so that's where we'll leave up on this video, and we'll pick up here. All right, thanks.